just how important reproductive rights are for people's health, education, and futures.
She's here to talk about how those rights are being limited, even in places like Europe, and why this issue matters to everyone, not just women. It's a really important topic, and we're looking forward to hearing from her. Let's give a warm welcome to Genevieve Tam.
And this was turn on. Hello. Oh, sorry. Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here today to talk about something I'm very passionate about and that I've been working on for the past 20 years of my career: global women's health and reproductive rights. So my journey started here, like you, in high school, trying to decide, what do I want to be when I grow up? I always knew I wanted to help people. I was never good at writing essays or debating, better at sciences, so medicine was a good fit. I got into medical school, and in there I learned about all the different areas of medicine and parts of the body that I could work in. But one fact really caught my eye and directed my career choices. Did you know that hundreds and thousands of pregnant women die in pregnancy and childbirth from preventable causes every year? Think about a big jumbo jet full of pregnant ladies, and it crashes every day. That's how many of them die in the women countries, because they don't have access to the right health information to make the right choices. They don't have access to trained healthcare providers. They don't have access to hospitals or even medicines. So because of this, I decided to become a women's health doctor in order to help people with their reproductive health. I became an obstetrician gynecologist, and what I did was deliver babies. I took care of pregnant people. I helped young girls and older women with their periods. I prescribed birth control. Most importantly, my job was to empower women and girls with the right information and safe medical care so that they can make the reproductive choices that are best for them. I had the opportunity to work in global health settings because that was what I was passionate about. I had the opportunity to work with Doctors Without Borders, or Médecins Sans Frontières, in Lebanon, where we were helping Syrian refugee women access safe maternal and reproductive health services. There I witnessed firsthand the effects of war and displacement on women and girls and their ability to access safe health care. We helped a young Syrian mom who just had a baby, and she couldn't feed her baby because she was attacked with acid when she was in Syria, and her whole chest was burned, blocking her ability to breastfeed. In Tanzania, I helped trained healthcare providers to make sure they had the skills to help women with safe deliveries and safe pregnancies. There I witnessed women dying of preventable causes in pregnancy because they didn't have the right information about their pregnancy and didn't show up to the hospital in time. These experiences showed me that reproductive health care should not be a privilege. It needs to be a right. Okay, enough about my life. What about you? What do you have planned for your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? Maybe after high school you want to go to university, become a doctor, lawyer, or maybe you want to be a professional athlete, an artist, or a climate activist. The possibilities are endless. But what if I told you that someone had the power to decide whether or not you can plan and have your future the way you want it? They have the right to dictate when and if you have a family, what health care you can access, and what choices you can make about your body. Does that seem fair? No, but unfortunately that's the reality for millions of women and girls around the world. They don't have this right, the right to reproductive rights. So what are reproductive rights? Reproductive rights are the legal and societal rights that allow you to have things like access to health care, access to safe pregnancy care, access to birth control, access to abortion, access to comprehensive sexuality education. Reproductive rights gives you the right to decide if and when you want to have children. It also gives you the right to decide what you want to do about your body without fear, force, or punishment. But in addition to reproductive rights, you also need reproductive autonomy. Reproductive autonomy gives you the ability to use these rights. So there could be a health clinic there, but can you actually access it? Is it in your city? Does it cost a lot to go get this service? Can you afford it? Are you getting the right education to even understand how your body works? How does pregnancy work? How do you prevent it? How do you prevent sexually transmitted infections? You need this education to be able to make those choices. Do you really have the right to decide what you want to do with your body? Are you getting pressure from your parents, your friends, your peers, or from online discussions? Reproductive rights are the legal rights that say you can have choice. But reproductive autonomy is the real power for you to act on your choices. You need both. If you don't have both, you lose control. Control over your future, over your body. And this is what's happening to millions of women and girls in the world. They need to fight for this control. So this is what happens when you don't have reproductive rights or reproductive autonomy. Young women and girls are forced into early marriages, and then they have to have children at a very young age. Over 650 million women and girls alive today were married before the age of 18. That's your age right here. There are bans in many places around the world on whether or not young people can get comprehensive sexuality education in schools because political groups and religious groups don't think they need it. Between 15 to 65% of young people are not getting this basic information about their body to make the right choices. A lot of women live in cultures and in societies where they can't just get access to reproductive health care if they want to because they need their husband's permission. For example, if they want to be on birth control and decide they don't want their children now, they need to ask their husband. They can't just go themselves. There are abortion bans. Abortion bans prevent women with life-threatening pregnancies from getting health care. They end up having to carry their pregnancy until almost death. People who are survivors of rape, they're not able to end the pregnancy that's a consequence of this assault because they can't access medical care. And when there are abortion bans, it's not stopping people from having abortions. They want to exercise their autonomy. They want to choose. I don't want to have this pregnancy right now. It's not right for me. And so you know what they'll do? They'll use unsafe methods. They'll use things like coat hangers and sharp sticks. And that ends up damaging their bodies, and worst case, they die. There are 30 million unsafe abortions that happen every year in this world. And it is the leading cause of maternal death around the world. These restrictions don't just limit personal freedoms. It's putting lives in danger, and it's reinforcing the cycle of poverty and inequality for women and girls. And why do I need to talk about it right now for you today? It's because right now reproductive rights are under attack around the world. Governments are trying to restrict access to birth control, abortion, and basic health care for many women and girls. 40% of reproductive aged women and girls are living under these restrictive laws. In the US, there are many states, over 20, that have strict abortion bans, forcing women and girls to travel out of state to get this essential health care. But that's only if they can afford to. Otherwise, they are forced to stay pregnant against their will or even against medical advice because doctors aren't able to provide this procedure. And it's mostly women who are poor, who are of color, that are affected by these bans. And it's not just happening in the United States. It's happening here in Europe as well. In Poland, we have some of the most restrictive abortion laws here in the region. And many women are dying because they can't access safe health care in time. In countries like Italy and Hungary, governments are trying to implement policies that shame women to prevent them from accessing the care that they need to make the right choice. In the United States, the Trump administration just reinstated the Global Gag Rule. And this gag rule means that no more humanitarian aid from the US can go towards safe abortion care. And as you can see, there are a lot of countries that are already not providing safe access to abortion care. So this is going to affect more and more women around the world. So it sounds kind of depressing, everything I'm saying, right? But there's hope. There's hope because we are seeing young people taking action, young people like yourselves, and making a difference. In Argentina here, you'll see that young people came up in massive groups to protest and to lead to the legalization of abortion in 2020. In Ireland, youth activists also campaigned very hard to repeal the strict abortion ban, and this led to a historical referendum victory in 2018. In Poland, where I mentioned there are strict abortion laws, young people are going on the streets and protesting. They're using their voices on social media to challenge these restrictions by their government. In the United States, students are organizing walkouts, they're organizing legal campaigns. They really supported the abortion ballot initiative during the elections in the fall. And this led to many conservative states safeguarding abortion in their states. So change is possible, but it needs to start with young people like yourselves who refuse to accept injustice. So how am I fighting back? Why is this important to me? I had the opportunity to grow up in Canada, where I had my reproductive rights, where I had a reproductive autonomy. I could choose when I wanted to have my family. So after I finished my 13 years of medical training, I decided to have my family. And now I have 2 beautiful girls, and they're actually going to this school right here. And what else did I do? I started a nonprofit using technology with my friend and also my OBGYN colleague, and it's called Vitala Global. And with Vitala Global, we worked with women to co-create a smartphone application so that to help them manage their reproductive health in a safe way, even for those living in countries where their reproductive rights are denied. Imagine living in a country where your rights are denied. And on top of that, all the information you're getting on social media, in the news, through your friends and family, and online could be misinformation or disinformation. That's why it's really important that people have the right information, reliable information, safe information, that they have non-judgmental support from trained counselors, all this for free, to be able to make the right choices for themselves. And this is what our app IO Contigo does. And for the last 3 years, we've supported over 20,000 women and girls to exercise their reproductive autonomy in the United States and across Latin America. Okay, now you're probably wondering, how does this all affect me? Well, if you're a girl, this is about your future. This is about your ability to make decisions about your body, about your education, about your career, about what your family will look like without interference. If you're a boy, it's about all the women in your lives, about your sisters, your friends, your partners, your future spouses. They deserve to have the right to control their own bodies and to make decisions, just as much as you do. So just to get this straight, reproductive rights is not only a women's issue. It's a human rights issue. It determines whether or not people can pursue their goals and their dreams, whether families thrive, whether societies progress. Research and history shows that when reproductive rights are protected, entire economies do better. But when they're denied, there is more poverty, there's more maternal and child deaths, and there is more inequality and less education, especially for women and girls. So what can you do? What can you do about this? Of course, it's difficult to change laws overnight, but you still have power. You need to stay informed, learn the facts, follow the news, both here at home, in the region, and globally. The more information and right information you know, the less misinformation will spread. Speak up. Talk to your friends about this. Talk to your parents, talk to your family, talk to your teachers and classmates. Challenge people who are spreading misinformation or who dismiss the importance of reproductive rights. Take action. Support organizations that protect or advocate for reproductive rights and reproductive autonomy, like the ones listed here. When you turn 18, vote for leaders that protect reproductive rights. You can go online, join campaigns, join protests. You can use your voice on social media. There's a lot of ways now that people can advocate. Your voice matters. You are the generation that will shape the future to infinity and beyond. Please fight for the future you want to live in, the one that you want your children to live in, your children's children, and the next generation to live in. Reproductive rights aren't about politics. They're about freedom. The freedom to choose your future, to live the life you want to live. So let's fight for a future of freedom, opportunity, and equality. So I'm going to close with wise words from your peer, Greta. No one is too small to make a difference. Thank you.
Genevieve's talk really showed us about how serious it is when people lose control over their own health and choices.
Absolutely. It's clear that this is something that affects all of us, and we're grateful for her coming and having spoken today. Our next speaker